One last battle to hold the line against the night.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
Hold the line. No one gets through, no matter what.
Sir, what are your orders?
There's only one order, Lieutenant. Behold.
Incoming transmission.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
You're listening to the HollowNet on Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes indeed, you're damn right it does. You are listening to the HollowNet on the mighty Mojo 50. God, I hope you're tuning in as well, because the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you! Today, ladies and gentlemen, it is the 26th of October in the year of our Lord 2019. Oh my. The first era of the Trumpian age draws closer to a close. As the election campaigns for 2020 begin to ramp up, as the impeachment proceedings, the vaguely constitutional, according to a federal judge, constitutional proceedings, impeachment proceedings, vaguely constitutional impeachment proceedings, yeah, I can talk tonight, as those start to ramp up, it is becoming more and more apparent to me that I think the Wall Street Journal actually did a proper story. Two parties, two economies. Democrats and Republicans aren't just divided, they live in different worlds. We've talked about it before here, that conservatives and liberals appear to exist in parallel universes, totally different realities, where up is down, down is up. Black is white, true is false. It is the difference between a world that is grounded in objective truth, and subjective opinion. Subjective opinions like what's funny and what isn't. Subjective opinion about how many genders there are. And when confronted with objective truth, these subjective opinions can't coexist. That's why we have the disconnect we have now, where it's not enough for the left to disagree, for the progressive socialists and quote-unquote Democrats to just disagree with President Donald Trump and with conservatives in this country. No! We can't merely be wrong in their eyes. We can't merely have a difference of opinion in their eyes. No, we must be evil. We have to be stopped at all costs. We are the antithesis of everything that is good in this world. They are right and everyone else is Hitler. And that's the way it has to be. Not because our views are incompatible and cannot coexist with theirs. No, because their views are incompatible and cannot coexist. My views as a constitutional conservative with some libertarian tendencies can coexist very easily with an honest liberal. I say an honest liberal. Think back to the Blue Dog Democrats of the Ronald Reagan days of yore. Think back to the liberals who were more concerned with the freedom of speech and the freedom of free expression than with the nanny state or with unlimited government spending. Think back to the liberals of the 1970s and the 1980s who wanted a better social safety net because they were coming from a place of compassion and conscience. You see, that kind of liberal I can respect. I can sit down next to that kind of liberal. Hell, I voted for that kind of a liberal before. I grew up in New Jersey. Sometimes them's your choices. But that kind of liberal is not allowed to exist today in the framework of the Democratic Party. They can't exist in that framework any longer. For so many, the reason why people are walking away, hashtag walk away from the Democratic Party, is because no other opinion is permitted. You're not allowed to be a moderate on their side any longer. You can't do it. Ideological purity is the order of the day on the left, and the key mistake we cannot make on the right is to hold that same ideological rigidity. That is actually a fun word. Rigidity, it is actually a word, look it up. We cannot hold to the same stringent standard that you must agree with me on 100% of things or you are evil. Not that you're wrong. Not that I disagree with you, no. But you must agree with me 100% or you are evil. You can and should be destroyed. Not silenced, but destroyed. Your livelihood must be stripped away. Your freedom may be stripped away. Your right to own a firearm should be forfeit. All of these things, this is the thinking of the left, and we cannot succumb to the same. We must be better. We must be principle above party. Principle above even the person of President Trump. Because I've said from the beginning, bring me the proof. Bring me the evidence that President Trump is guilty of all of these crimes and misdemeanors that you say he is. Bring me proof. Bring me the evidence of the crime and the law broken side by side. Let's weigh them. Let's measure them. Let's see if they come to the standard of an impeachment of his presidency. And if it doesn't, let it lie. Because you cannot impeach the man because you hate him. You must impeach him only if he has in fact committed a crime. And that's what it boils down to. A federal judge yesterday ruled that the impeachment proceedings as they sit now are constitutional and can move forward, in spite of the fact that no impeachment vote has in fact been taken. They stated that impeachment by its nature is a judicial process and thus can be performed, an inquiry can be performed under the auspices of the Judicial Committee of Congress. I expect this to be appealed. I expect it to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I expect it to lose, because the Constitution is very specific about the process of impeachment. The process of impeachment begins with a vote to impeach in the House, making the Democrats and making those Republicans who want to side against the President of the United States and be on the wrong side of history pick a side, ascribe their name to this lie. Having read all the evidence that is publicly available and consumable, which admittedly is not very much, I can find no evidence that the president has done anything illegal. Has he pressured a foreign president to assist in an ongoing investigation, one which he had very little recourse but to turn to a foreign president in order to research? An ally, I might add. Ukraine is a non-NATO ally. I don't think it was proper form. I don't think it was good diplomacy. But I don't think it rises to the level of a crime by the president. So show me the crime. Show me the evidence. Make your case. Do it in public. Do it officially. Do it on the record. Show some testicular fortitude. If you're going to bet, bet it all. Because the saying's been going on for months now, ever since this impeachment bullshit started. If you're going to go for the king, best not miss. So speaking of not missing things, get on lovemytummy.com. lovemytummy.com/mojo. Get your 3 bottles of Atrantil for only $99. That saves you a sweet, cool $21. Use promo code MOJO at checkout. Limited time offer cannot be combined with any other offers. Coupon limited. 3 bottles of Atrantil only. Make sure you make that happen. Bloated, abdominal discomfort, body inflammation. Get your daily polyphenols with Atrantil. Atrantil is chock full of these polyphenols. I'm not a doctor, but I do know quite a bit about the bubble guts. I know a bit about the bubble guts. I know a bit about that postprandial upper abdominal distension that Dr. McCoy likes to talk about in Star Trek. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So, make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of your gut. All of your health emanates from your gut, from your stomach, from the intestinal flora. And Atrantil works by breaking the cycle of out-of-place bacteria that feed off the foods you eat and create methane gas that leaves you bloated and uncomfortable. It gets your digestion back on track. It has peppermint, cabracho, horse chestnut, all these natural inhibitors, these natural polyphenols that your body craves. So go on Atrantil, lovemytummy.com/mojo. Use promo code MOJO at checkout. $99 for 3 bottles. Save yourself $21. And save yourself from that nasty, nasty bad gut feeling where you got the tummy troubles. All right? Because I read stories to my 4-year-old boys all the time. And one of them is dragons love tacos. And when dragons get the tummy troubles, oh boy. So don't be like those dragons. You can tell I'm going off on a tangent when I'm talking about the books I read my kids. Aye! Anyway. So I came across a couple of stories today, and they paint 2 very different pictures. And I want to share them with you. The first is on the Clinton News Network by Sarah Sidner. A mother's warning: if you have white teen sons, listen up. I have 3 sons. They're white. They're not teens yet. Joanna Schroeder has a warning for parents of teen and tween white boys. If you don't pay attention to their online lives, the white supremacists will. Dun, 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 dun. They've studied the way our young men interact online and have looked at what these boys need. And they've learned how to fill those needs in order to entice them into propaganda. That's what she found when she asked her own teenager if they could go through some of his social media together. He was scrolling quickly, really quickly, she said. It was so fast he slowed down and I saw an image of Hitler and I stopped him. Wait, is that Hitler? Oh, but it was. A meme depicting Hitler and implying a time traveler would have tipped him off about the future to keep him alive had popped into the boy's Instagram suggestions. I know my kids understand Hitler, but as I scrolled through his social media, I saw more memes that joked about the Holocaust and joked about slavery, Schrader said. The impact, she said, seemed to be, quote, desensitizing our kids to things we should be sensitive to. How she spotted the extremist messaging? Schroeder decided to dig deeper with her sons, one teen and the other a tween, when she heard them saying words that have been used by trolls against her. Can I just pause for a second? This lady, the picture, she's such a Karen. Anyway, as a writer who has published pieces about men's issues among other topics, there it is. Schroeder has suffered online criticism and abuse from those who virulently disagree with her. Quote, I know these people who bothered me and harassed me and made my life miserable for all these years are influencing my kids. These are my sweet, gentle boys saying this stuff. A California mom of 3, she has a baby girl in addition to her sons. Hey, she's got the same set as I do, 3 boys, 1 girl. So she says she is progressive and liberal, but added she does not shun mainstream conservative thought. Maybe there's hope for her yet. Okay, she might be one of those old school liberals I talked about before, who you can at least talk to. Not these nutjob Prague socialist leftist Antifa people. But she was jolted when she heard her elder son talking about being triggered. Hold the phone. Triggered has become such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's become such a regularly heard phrase now. Can you really get that concerned about hearing about someone being triggered? I don't know. Anyway, she goes on. You'll hear this from your conservative uncle, and you may hear it from a kid that's getting a lot of alt-right messaging online, that everyone's too sensitive today. Because everyone is too sensitive today, sweetheart. I know, Karen, you want to see the manager. That's okay. That is the entryway kind of terminology. It's not racist. No, it's not. But it's often used against people who are calling out racism, sexism, or homophobia. Because don't you know everything is racist, sexist, and homophobic now? Other terms she tells parents to listen for include snowflake, keck, a form of LOL that sometimes refers to an ironic white nationalist religion. Okay, number one, your ignorance is showing. Keck originated from the computer game World of Warcraft. Yup, it's a gamer thing, first and foremost. Keck appeared on screen because that game has a very interesting mechanic. You have two factions. You have the Alliance and the Horde. Now, when you are in areas of the virtual game world where both sides can inhabit, they obviously don't want you reading each other's chats, right? In the common area. So if you're Alliance, Horde chats appear in Horde language, which is really just a scrambled form of English. It's gibberish, but there's a set code to it. So lol comes out as kek, K-E-K. That's it. That is the birth of kek instead of lol. Lol kek, kek lol. Because Horde players see Alliance chats as gibberish. Alliance players see Horde chats as gibberish. Lol becomes kek. If you played the game long enough, you learn to recognize certain key phrases in the scrambled language. That's it! Then we get into Kekistan and Kek with Pepe the Frog. This is where 4chan comes into play. This is where Reddit comes into play, now quarantined Reddit, where people began to, number one, become attracted to President Trump's way of thinking, way of trolling the media, and Kekistan is born. People who live to troll the mainstream media and troll normies. Karen, aka Joanna, or whatever the hell your name is, that means you, sweetie. You're a normie. And that's what this article is directed toward. Your classic normie who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about in online subculture. And it's this bullshit primer that CNN is giving you. They're trying to make you smarter about it. No, what they're doing is making you more paranoid about it, okay? So they go on and they say, cuck, Chad, feminoid, beta, blood and soil, and the numbers 14 or 88 for their association with Hitler and Nazism. As it's the 14-word statement and 88 being HH for Heil Hitler. Yeah, go ahead. The words may not appear obviously racist or sexist by themselves, but they've been co-opted by extremists, and in some cases taken on new meanings. Wait for it. It's the same with various emojis and symbols, like the bowl cut, that is now a form of homage to the hairstyle of the racist killer who targeted a black church in Charleston, a glass of milk emoji, linking white pride, supposed masculinity, 2 lightning bolts that could look like the insignia of the Nazi SS, and even the OK hand signal can be seen as racist in some situations, the Anti-Defamation League reported last month, which they didn't just report last month, that was also reported months and months and months ago, and has been thoroughly and epically debunked, you frigging sycophantic mental midgets, you. Schroeder sent out a thread of warning tweets that went viral. Of course they did. Because other parents who are clueless, like you're clueless, see this stuff and panic. And panic makes for a viral post. I wanted parents to know, to pay attention, because this particular group of boys is being targeted, and these parents have no idea. Won't someone please think of the children? Yep. This bullshit brought to you by CNN. This goes on for quite some time. SJW stands for Social Justice Warrior, a term used to mock civil rights activists. Mother, please. Oh my God. Words to watch for. Red-pilled. Understanding the full truth of a situation, though for white supremacists, this is accepting misogynistic alt-right theories. Okay, we're gonna go on a quick break. When we come back from this quick break, I'm gonna tell you about another article that I found, which thoroughly subverts this ridiculous narrative that CNN is planting, and thank God for it. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Mojo50's offering on mojo50.com/shop. We actually have KBMD, Ken Brown, he's a butt man, Dr. Ken Brown, MD. He has his own brand of CBD oil, and he has made it available to our viewers and listeners on mojo50.com/shop. Now, if you ever suffered from nagging joint discomfort, difficulty sleeping, frequent inflammation, mood swings, gut problems, KBMD CBD may offer you real relief. You can use your promo code MATT, that's promo code MATT, MAT, and you can get yourself $15 off of your purchase. It's physician recommended. It's been used with real patients with real success. It's the best price per milligram of any third-party tested CBD on the market. You know it's real because it has a real certificate of authenticity. Never use a CBD that doesn't have a certificate of authenticity, folks. And it's a CO2 extracted, delivering the cleanest extract without harsh chemicals. You get 900 milligrams of cannabis oil. It's a wholesome extract. It's not a synthetic. It's not an isolate. It gives you the synergistic cannabinoids, terpenoids, essential oils, and other compounds of the original plant, and works amazingly if you combine it with the aforementioned Atrantil. Go on mojo50.com/shop and check out KBMD CBD oils. Do it today. Save yourself some money on CBD oils and get yourself some real relief. All right. Now, like I said, when we come back, we're going to dive into this other article that just completely subverts and controverts this horrible propagandized narrative from CNN and Miss Joanna, who is a progressive author. Yeah. And like I said, pull up the picture. Link will be in the description. This chick looks like such a Karen. You can actually see her demanding to see the manager. All right. So, take that quick break. We're going to come back. You're listening to HollowNet here on the mighty Mojo 50. Stick around.
Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes, we're back. You're listening to, and I hope you're watching the HollowNet on the mighty Mojo 50. Now, coming back, we heard before about Miss Joanna Schroeder or whatever the hell her name is, warning you as a mother, if you have white teen sons, listen up, that your teen and tween white boys, if you don't pay attention to their online lives, the white supremacists will. Looking out for words like cuck and keck, triggered, and, let's see here, feminoid, chad, beta, blood and soil. Other words like, let's see here, words to watch for. Beta, referring to a weak man as opposed to an alpha male. You mean, like Beta O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke. So, as a counterpoint to this, I found a wonderful story on theblaze.com by Dave Urbanski, and it's kind of interesting that these popped up around about the same time, but I'll leave that for your mind to digest. According to David Urbanski, a study, and note, this is a study, not just some progressive author's opinion. Conservatives on YouTube, like Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Dennis Prager, actually contributing to de-radicalization of the alt-right. And this one actually has in links that, lead to a study with science and academia behind it, instead of just rhetoric. Imagine that. Anyhow, Urbanski writes, one eye-opening aspect of a just-released study by a pair of Penn State political science professors suggests that YouTube content by popular conservative figures such as Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, and Dennis Prager actually contributes to de-radicalization of viewers who might be otherwise glued to alt-right content as opposed to radicalization. In a supply and demand framework for YouTube politics, authors Kevin Munger and Joseph Phillips describe members of what they call the Alternative Influence Network, which has challenged the mainstream media online and for the purposes of the study on YouTube. The authors created 5 AIN categories, and one is conservative, which includes the likes of Steven Crowder, famous for setting up booths at college campuses, challenging people to change his mind about a conservative, pro-Trump belief, Ben Shapiro, a former Breitbart reporter known for criticizing the left for their use of feelings over facts, and Dennis Prager, host of PragerU, a channel that expresses conservative viewpoints with an educational motif. Interestingly, the study places other YouTube figures outside the conservatives category who nevertheless have generally appealed to conservative figures and conservative audiences, e.g., podcaster Joe Rogan, liberals, along with anti-PC professor Jordan Peterson and former left-wing commentator Dave Rubin. For example, Shapiro has interviewed Rogan, Rubin, and Peterson, and Rogan and Rubin have both interviewed Shapiro. In fact, there's a lengthy video showing Shapiro, Rubin, and Peterson all in conversation together. The study goes on to describe conservatives in the following way. Like the skeptics, they often lampoon the use of identity politics and deplatforming by mainstream progressive social movements. But unlike skeptics, they also disagree with mainstream liberals in principle. They tend to have more traditional pro-market and socially conservative beliefs. However, they are different from the further right segments of the AIN. However, in that they explicitly oppose anti-Semitism and open appeals to race. Thank you! The telling tidbit of the study noted trends in monthly YouTube viewership between January 2013 and November 2018, explaining that between 2013 and 2018, all members of the Alternative Influence Network, including the more extreme alt-light and alt-right categories, increased their viewership. But since the middle of 2017, the study said the latter two categories have seen a steep decline in viewership. By contrast, conservative and liberal content creators, who have much more in common with mainstream discourse than other segments of the AIN, have either continued to grow or plateaued in viewership. In addition, the study said such patterns are inconsistent with radicalization happening at a major scale. Indeed, from these data alone, de-radicalization seems a more plausible baseline hypothesis. This does not rule out the possibility that some people are making the ideological journey from liberals to skeptics to the far right, but it is certainly not the dominant trend. In addition, around the time viewership of conservative content on YouTube began, quote, skyrocketing, the study said conservative content creation also rose dramatically. Conversely, despite the alt-right and alt-right stepping up its content creation activity in 2018, viewership of such content has been declining. So, what this means is that people crave substance. People are looking for principles over people. Principles over party. Principles over politics. And this tells us that we're about to come out on the other side. That there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that people are ready and willing to engage in honest discourse. More people on the left than the progressives and the mainstream media are willing to admit are starting to come around and realize we're not so different, you and I. We are not so far divorced from ourselves that there can be no reconciliation. As soon as you say the word Trump, you hear the of the left. But when you get them individually, when you sit them down and you can have a logical, well-thought-out discussion, as we were trying to earlier in the show, saying, where's the evidence? Show me the evidence. Ignore the fact that you hate the man with a visceral, heart-pumping hatred, a seething, burning, fire-in-the-belly hate. Put those feelings aside, as Mr. Shapiro often urges us to do, and look at the facts. Is the fact that you hate him enough for you to put someone out of a job, perhaps? One thing I'd like to play for you, I'm going to try to cue it up. There's a film coming out quite soon. Actually, I believe it's out today. And it's actually debuting here in my own Phoenix. I'm going to see if I can make that work. It's Dennis Prager's new production. It's called No Safe Spaces. And it looks very provocative. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, I recommend you check it out. I'm going to play the audio from it here, and I think it's going to be almost as effective. So here we go. Hopefully it doesn't roll an ad first. Hang on. Come on.
Anything you say will be used against you.
You are not listening. I want your job to be taken from you.
A protest has turned violent in California, Berkeley.
This is why we're fighting for the soul of America.
You should be able to share ideas without fear of being fired from your job or shouted down.
You are not to be heard. This is one of the few things one could say we have no precedent for in the United States.
You have the right to remain silent.
The only way we separate the good ideas from the bad ideas is to be free to say whatever we want about them.
Anything you say will be used against you.
There's no free speech for fascists.
Your posts on Facebook, Twitter, and social media will be saved to shame you.
Kevin Hart has stepped down from hosting this year's Oscars.
Anything you say that we don't like will be used to shut you up. You can't be funny.
It's creating an atmosphere of fear and repression, and it's gonna bust.
You cannot think differently.
It makes it difficult for you to learn from other people.
Isn't it spooky that we're having this discussion?
You can't challenge us.
Kids grew up dipped in Purell, playing soccer games where they never kept score.
There is no debate.
The type of diversity that they hate is diversity of thought.
We reserve the right to be offended by everything.
No university should ever create a safe space. You're not going to protect people, and so the best you can do is to make them strong.
The It bothers me for the young people who are being deprived of anything that could open their minds.
You have the right to remain silent.
I'm going to try really hard to make arrangements to go see this. If you haven't, try to make it a point to do so. I think it's a very, very important film. It's actually out right now in the Phoenix area, so I'm going to see if I can manage it. But this is a powerful, powerful documentary. And, you know, Dennis Prager, together with Adam Carolla, Tim Allen, Cornel West, Ben Shapiro. I mean, Cornel West, I usually don't agree with a lot that he says, but, you know, this is a special situation. You know, there's a Jonathan Pye video that's out. Jonathan Pye, you might remember as being the English liberal who turned around and blamed the Democrats for the election of Donald Trump because all of the air got sucked out of the argument and they ran that he's just evil and that everybody who supports conservatives is evil, and they galvanized the right. And he was right about that. I disagree with almost everything else Jonathan Pye has to say, but then he's really right about some things as well. And I think this is one of them. He put out a video. It's called, have you heard of the one about the iced bun? Where a comedian's in a bit of trouble because a judge, a host on the Great British Baking Show, which I love that show, by the way. Speaking of which, if you love that kind of stuff, check out Spoonie. SpoonieRadio.com, our brothers and sisters over on Spoonie. Sidetracked, digress, back on track now. Got in a lot of trouble because they said a dish that was presented to them was so sweet that it looked or tasted like diabetes. I've used that phrase about 50 million times, and usually, you know, coinciding with the, oh God, what's the name of the actor who talks about my diabetes, or a case of the sugars. When did this stop being funny? When did these stop being jokes? This is why we need FreedomHard. If you haven't been on FreedomHard yet, get on freedomhard.com. It is the new social media platform for those who love free speech. I am kind of taken aback. Last week, I cut a little song on here. I parodied Pure Imagination from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm sorry, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the old one, the Gene Wilder one. And predictably got copyright slapped, by the way. It's hysterical. YouTube has slapped me down twice for that video now, and I keep telling them it's fair use because it's very obviously fair use. It's a transformative parody song. But still, I digress. That made it even funnier. But I truly underestimated how happy FreedomHard was with this little jingle of mine. They, number one, they made a video of it, which is the owner of the site, I believe his name's Chris, doing all kinds of crazy stuff that would get you thrown off YouTube, you know, blasting fireworks out of the back of his truck and like holding up guns and stuff. And it's an awesome video. Explosions and girls in bikinis, you know, all red-blooded good American stuff. With the song playing over the back of it. And it's awesome. I mean, I'm so happy with that. But check it out. It's on freedomhard.com. They put it on the login page. It is so cool. That is so cool. So I want to thank our good friends over at FreedomHard for really making me happy with that. I did not know how well that would go. I'm gonna hang on. I want to see how many hits this video's got, because this video is actually, I think this has actually got more hits than the original show that it appeared on, which is kind of crazy. So let me see here. I gotta go to my Facebook. See, I gotta pull it up because my picture-in-picture is fried. I actually have to pull it up on my tablet, and like it's such a high reflection from my lights you can't even see it. But yeah, I use OBS for my video here, and it Fraggle rocked itself pretty badly. during the last update. Now it won't let me do picture-in-picture. So I'm working on that. I will get back the ability to do picture-in-picture soon, I hope. But, yeah, I'm just curious. I want to see how many damn views this thing's got. Let me see if I can pop it up on the big desktop here. Because my iPad's giving me the bird here. Apple technology, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I just could not possibly be any more stoked. It's a great site, and it's right now, it's kind of in beta mode. So that's freedomhard.com. You can find them, ironically, on Facebook, who they're trying to get away from. They have their site there as well, and that's where this video is hosted. But check them out, freedomhard.com. Go create your profile. I'm on there. The HollowNet's on there. Dominic Izzo's on there. Defenders Live are there. That's what she said. Americanuck is there. Mike Phillip, good guy. Yeah. Is it Philip or Philip or Flip? I'm probably screwing that up. I'm sorry, dude. But okay, so let me go back to it. I gotta see how many views this thing's got. Oh, how come it's not showing me? 7.3 thousand views. Damn! Can I get those kind of numbers, please? Holy damn! Wow. And yeah, that I could not be happier with that. Freedom Hard, you guys kick ass. Love you to pieces. Hey, I'm gonna put out the invitation right now. I'm gonna see if I can get Chris on the show. I really do. But he writes here on the pin post. In the real world, there's no report button for you to press when you're offended. You either squash it right there or you walk away. We've become a society who not only is easily offended, but also expect others to fight our battles for us. It's time to grow a spine and stop being so dependent on others when our emotions get the best of us. Next weekend, we set our clocks back for daylight savings. I'm setting mine back to 1776, a time when Americans had balls and women didn't. If you agree, join the rest of us who are creating a culture like this on freedomhard.com. And the HollowNet is already there with bells on, baby. We are already on the scene. So make sure you join us at freedomhard.com/HollowNet. All right? Sarait. So, one other thing, by the way. That, by the way, was not an ad spot. That's just me talking about people I really want to work with because they're awesome. Here's the ad spot. Catcoolers.com, catcoolers.com. Get on Cat Coolers. Do it now. Use your promo code HOLLOW, HOLLOW, on catcoolers.com. Save yourself a bit of money. Do it now. They have an 88-quart custom cooler. 88 quarts. That just damn. I mean, that's a big. That's big. Put two bodies in there. Anyway, you can get these in black. You can get them in yellow. You can get them in camo. You can get them in white. Blue collar version now. That looks pretty cool. You can get a decal put on there. You get like the HollowNet logo that we got right hanging out right over. Hang on, I gotta look at the blue screen. They're right over there. You can get the HollowNet, which has got the good old traditional 13 Colonies flag on there. It's got the original Betsy Ross. Do it up, man. Catcoolers.com. Use your promo code HOLLOW, HOLLOW. Save yourself some money on a cat cooler. It keeps ice for 7 days. It's rugged. It's hard to kill. I mean, they have a guarantee on there, so they'll make it good if you wreck this thing because it's so rugged it changes everything. Catcoolers.com, promo code HOLLOW, HOLLOW. Do it up, man. It's camping time. Arizona, it's gotten nice and cool. So yeah, you want to do that. So last week I had a bit of fun with Halloween. By the way, that was a really ranty episode. I'm actually pretty proud of that one. I've started taking what I think are really solid excerpts out of the show and putting them up as HollowNet highlights on the YouTube channel and on the BitChute as well and on Facebook as well. So you can find them there. So it's hashtag HollowNet highlights And you can find the Halloween rant there, Woke Halloween. It's hashtag Woke Halloween. It's a little bit of a shorter, more digestible video for people with shorter attention spans. I know not everybody can sit and chill and listen for an hour, so I want to make sure that I'm pulling at least one good segment out of every show, putting it up there on the highlights. I noticed a lot of the really successful shows are doing this. It's a good format to use when you just want to get a quick point across. So check that out. That's on our YouTube, on our BitChute, on our Facebook. It's hashtag HollowNet highlights, and last week's was hashtag Woke Halloween. But anyway, I was talking about Halloween and how we are like the no fun nation now when it comes to Halloween. This in from Fox 10, my local Fox 10 affiliate here in Phoenix. Story in Birmingham, Alabama. The mother of a second grader was horrified to find her son with what looked like a bullet hole painted onto his forehead last week. Ammon Jackson, 7, had face makeup put on as part of an activity in drama class at Phillips Academy in Birmingham, Alabama, but it wasn't removed afterward, and Jackson left the school with a realistic-looking wound design still on his face. His mother, Zakiah Millhouse, shared a photo of Jackson in the makeup to her Facebook page, expressing outrage over the teacher's decision to paint a bullet hole. We're in the lead up to October, and that's actually some pretty solid effects makeup. When I was a kid, we were putting like massive constructs of blood and guts and like bits of brain coming out of your head like you've been smashed in the face like the dude from The Walking Dead, Glenn. Just smashed across the face with a baseball bat. Lucille. Done. We were doing stuff like that for fun. My mother was a fairly accomplished makeup artist at that time. She knew what she was doing. She could make some stuff that looked sick. I mean, on a budget, that ain't bad. This is reasonably good work from looking at. It looks like a decent bullet entry wound. Okay? So, she said, so they did this in drama class, and my boy said the teacher said it's like he got shot, Millhouse wrote in a post. I don't care if it's Halloween or not. It was supposed to be a gunshot wound, Millhouse told Alabama.com. That's when I got upset. A gunshot wound! This actually happens to our black young men. If you saw it in person, it looked real. That means the art teacher did a good job, lady. And it doesn't just happen to your black men. It happens to black men, white men, Hispanic men, Asian men. Dudes get shot, lady. Dudes get shot. You never want it to happen. It's a thing that happens. Jesus. Why does there gotta be a racial component to everything? The kid's got a bit of Halloween makeup on. You go, and you wipe it off. For the love of Christ, let the kid have some fun. Other parents shared similar concerns on Millhouse's post, one of them writing, "This is very offensive and very demeaning. It sends the wrong signal with the way black men are losing their lives at the hand of gun violence." Statistically speaking, black men are losing their lives at the hands of other black men. Look at Chicago. They're shooting each other in droves. And I'm sorry, that's not losing your life at the hands of gun violence. That's losing your life at the hand of the dude that shot you. Holy hell. After posting a photo of Jackson in the gunshot makeup online, which, again, for the record, this is a pretty badass little gunshot makeup. This is good effects makeup. This teacher might have a future in artwork. Maybe she should get on that show on Bravo, whatever it is. Show it off to Glenn Hetrick and all those other people. Millhouse received a call from the school principal, who apologized, because of course he did, and said this is unacceptable. Millhouse said that when the teacher who taught the unit apologized, he said he didn't really think it was a big deal. Because it's not! But assured her he would remove the unit from his lesson plan. Birmingham City Schools released a statement in response to the incident, explaining that permission slips had been sent home to parents before students participated in the theater class building unit. One commentator on Milhouse's post wrote, "I can guarantee the permission slip did not indicate that her young child would be participating in a demonstration of gun violence. It's highly offensive and inappropriate." You know how many plastic guns my boys have? My boys have got a plastic arsenal in this house, and they have participated in more quote-unquote demonstrations of gun violence than I could shake a stick at. It's called playing cops and robbers, or, cowboys and Indians, boom, 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 all that fun stuff. They're kids! They're boys! I'm telling you, if one of my boys came home with that from a play presentation, especially around Halloween time, I'm pretty sure my wife and I would look at it and critique it and go, that's pretty good. They got the shading just right on here. That's a good red they used. What is that? Is that ketchup? Did they use ketchup on this? I don't know. Ask the teacher. It looks good. How do we do it? It's Halloween. Let the kids have some fun. Stop being so damn offended by everything. Jesus, not everything's about race. It's a kid who got to try on some stage effect makeup. I'm sure he had a blast. Literally probably had to act one out, That's why he would have a gunshot wound special effect makeup on his forehead if he was a character who happened to get shot. People are going to come at me and be like, he's 7! Yeah, my oldest is 6. My oldest, he I don't want to say he's completely inured to this kind of thing, because we don't allow him to see graphic violence and things like that, because we're parents. I would not object to him having effects makeup put on him in such a fashion as to demonstrate that it was like a bullet wound. For a play, or for a show he was acting out in, or for Halloween. It doesn't make you a bad parent to be okay with that. It means you don't mind your kids having a little bit of fun, having a bit of dress up. Even at 7, you're aware that getting shot is a thing which exists. You don't want it to happen, and there it is. Either way you slice it, we're so busy being offended that we're stripping our children of one of the greatest experiences of childhood. Halloween. Oh, folks, that's it for the HollowNet this week. Have a happy Halloween. Take them trick-or-treating. Dress them up. Let them have fun. Don't be like these people. Good night. God bless you. And God bless America. End transmission.